The Buddha is referred to in English as the awakened one. The term awakened one is used here in the metaphorical sense. In the literal sense, one is awakened only if one has been sleeping. When one is asleep, he can be awakened. In the metaphorical sense, Buddha is awakened to the reality of our life, the world, the universe. Reality. But when we are asleep and dreaming, we see as reality illusions. All our dreams are apparently real at the moment we are experiencing them, but actually they are not real. They are only illusions. Similarly, those who are enlightened also are dreaming, but they are dreaming while they are awake. That awakeness is referred to in the sense of awakened one, that although we are awake, if we are asleep means we are not conscious of the reality of ourselves and our world. We are guided by illusions, and those illusions are dreams. That is meant by being awakened. The reality of the world Buddha saw is referred to as anicca, dukkha and anatta. The main reality is dukkha. It is translated into English as suffering, but that word does not give the entire meaning of the Pali word dukkha. In Pali, in the Buddhist canon, the word vidya is referred to as the knowing of the Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths are pivoted round the truth of suffering called dukkha. Dukkha, the cause of dukkha is called dukkha samudaya. The cessation of dukkha is called dukkha nirodha. The path or the technique or the method of the cessation of dukkha is called dukkha nirodha gamini patipada. Therefore, the main reality to which the Buddha got awakened is dukkha, what you call suffering. And the cause of suffering, according to the Buddha's observation, is anicca, and the result is anatta. Anicca literally means impermanence. It shows that everything in this world, the material world, is impermanent. Scientifically, everything, entire universe and every item in the universe we can call to be dynamic. They are in a state of creation, activity. Therefore, we can say anicca means the universal activity. Activity is nothing but the universal energy referred to by the scientist. According to Buddha, energy is not a thing but an ongoing activity called anicca. When something is active, what happens is it always changes its form and position and state. And that change is called dukkhata. In the scientific sense, anicca is the universal energy, the creative power. A power is not a static thing but always creative. There is no creation in the world, but there is a creativity. There is no creator in the world, but there is a creativity in the world that we can observe. The dukkhata is the transformation that takes place due to the creativity. Anattata is the reality. Because of this constant transformation of everything and every being, nothing can retain a permanent identity. That is called anattata. It is this reality that the Greek philosopher called Heraclitus, who lived in the 5th century BC, realized and stated, no one can step into the same river twice. Because the river is always changing. It's in a flux. When you step into the river once, and when you were to step into the same river again, the river that you stepped first has gone down. You step into a new river. Similarly, everything is renewed. Everything is renewed means there is birth. And that renewal cannot last long, it decays. That power is like a wave. When a wave rises up, it has to go down. There is decay. The rising up, the first stage called jati, then all the changes are called jara, transformation. It can be transformation in going high, it can be transformed in going down, that's a transformation. And it ends, that ending is the marana. That is how we can look at scientifically the dukkhata in the universe. When one realizes this particular reality, that everything is born to decay and die, your attachment to things get gradually diminished. You realize there's no point in getting attached. We can enjoy whatever that is good for us, and we can remove whatever that is bad for us. That is the practical sense. But we need not entertain attachment or resentment. To remove something, we should not entertain mental state called resentment, hatred, or dislike. Logically, you realize that it is not suitable to you, and you realize that activity is to remove it. You realize that you are hungry and you need some food, and you take food. Without any greed, without any particular strong desire, you are doing something practical. Even the enlightened ones take food. Even the enlightened ones go to toilets. Even the enlightened ones take a bath, take a shave, brush their teeth. They lead a normal life. But without any particular self-centered desire for it, these activities happen in the process of natural activity. Because the enlightened one have become part and parcel of the nature, we think that we are different from the nature, that I am a different entity from the nature and the environment, and I think of the individuality called Atman, the self. I have a self-center. But in fact, when you look at the entire nature, nothing can retain a self-center. Universe has no center. Universe has no self. Universal natural activities have no self-center in them. For example, the sun gives us light and heat. But it has no selfish motive. It is doing a duty for the good of the world. The clouds bring us rain. The winds bring the cloud from the ocean, from the seas. The wind has no selfish motive. It happens naturally. Clouds give rain, But the clouds have no selfish motive, no self-centered motive. They happen naturally. Trees grow. They absorb the carbon dioxide we emanate and give us oxygen to breathe in. But they have no self-centered motive in doing that. They happen naturally. They give us vegetable. They give us medicine, medications. They give us fruit. They give us honey. They give us flowers, the beauty of the flowers. They give us scents. But without any selfish motive. But we have a selfish motive, think that we are doing it. The first state of getting awakened is to get rid of, it happens not to get rid of means we don't do it intentionally. We realize at the very first stage of enlightenment called Sotapannahood, there is no doer in me, things happen. I am not doing, things happen. This realization normally comes after the Buddhist meditation called Vipassana Bhavana. It starts with Samatha Bhavana called Anapanasati, but it leads to the Vipassana, the insight. In Anapanasati, you tranquil the mind by being conscious of your in and out breathing. Once you become conscious, constantly conscious of your in and breathing, you see, they have breathing as a birth, decay and death. Breathing in as a birth, decay and death. Breathing out as a birth, decay and death. And you realize that is the world in nature. That is the nature of the universe. Even our universe has a birth. Scientists say the universe is born out of a big bang of a black hole. And they are decaying. That power is gradually getting diminished. But that Big Bang expansion continues until the power for expansion gets gradually diminished. That is called decay of that power created by the Big Bang. Then it comes to an end of expansion and gradually it starts contracting. And it becomes a black hole again through a big crunch. That is what the scientists have explained with regard to the universe. That means even the universe is born to decay and die. This is the reality. That we see them, but we are not fully aware of them. We don't realize it. If you realize it, we can't get attached to anything that is impermanent, that is born to decay and die. We can't resent anything that is born, but going to decay and die. We feel sympathy towards everything and every being. Somebody will scold you, insult you, but you feel sorry for him. That anger, that insulting is not permanent. That is born to decay and die. His anger has erupted, and like the universe that got expanded through a big bang will ultimately end in a big crunch. Similarly, that anger may go down. One may hate you, but it can turn into love for you. One may love you, that love can turn into hatred. That is the nature of the world. Awakened one is one who sees these universal realities. Not only the Four Noble Truths called Dukkha, Samudaya, Nirodha, Magga, they are in the academic sense the truth realized by the Buddha. But the Buddha, even Dukkha, Samudaya, Nirodha, Magga, is a little amount of truth that the Buddha realized. In Sinsapa Sutta, Buddha, while he was traveling through a Sinsapa forest, a forest of Simsapa trees. He picked up some leaves dropped by the trees on the ground and asked the Buddha, "O monks, which is more, the little bit of leaves in my hand or the leaves in the forest?" Well, it's apparent that the leaves in the forest are more than what is in the Buddha's hand. Then Buddha said, "About the truth I know about this universe and life and everything, I have told you, I have preached you only very little that can be compared to the little bit of leaves in my hand. What I have not declared to you can be compared to the leaves in the forest." That means Buddha has realized the entire nature of the nature, entire universe, everything. It is not knowledge that make him enlightened. Knowledge is always dead and of the past. Knowledge is different from knowing. At the enlightenment, at the awakening, he developed the knowing capacity. Therefore, the term Buddha is referred to in English as the awakened one because he had the knowing capacity. When we are asleep, the knowing capacity or consciousness is dormant. When we are awakened from the sleep, the knowing capacity, the consciousness gets activated. In Buddha, it is said the knowing capacity in the Abhisampadamagga is activated to its fullest maximum level beyond time and space in a boundless way without any limitation. That means he is called omniscient, not that he had the knowledge of everything, he had the capacity of knowing everything. Knowing is different from knowledge. We ought to have the knowing capacity in us. We can use that knowing capacity in our meditation, in observing ourselves. The reality is, we do not know anything in the world outside. We know only what has been the information about the outside world detected by our sense organs and reflected in our mind. But our sense organs are not capable of knowing everything in the universe. Buddha is called omniscient. He has developed that capacity of knowing boundlessly. That is why he is called an awakened one while we are asleep. Asleep we are ignorant. That is called moha. That is why get attached to life, that is why there is attachment to things in us and resentment to things in us, and also the ignorance that leads to that resentment and attachment. Attachment is called raga, resentment is called dosa in Pali, and that unawareness or inattentiveness or non-attention or not knowing things as they are is called moha. Enlightenment means the freedom from raga, dosa, moha, attachment, resentment, and illusions or ignorance of reality. Illusions are dreams. As I mentioned you, we know nothing other than our dreams. Dreams are reflections. For example, when you go before the mirror reflects you as if you are inside the mirror. But there is a mirage. That is an illusion. That is only a reflection. Similarly, the world is reflected in our mind, but they are illusions. When you realize the illusions are illusions, we get really enlightened. We become awakened one. Buddha in Dhammapada it is said, Yo balo manyati balyam pandito api tenaso. If you know that you don't know, by that very fact, you are an enlightened one, Pandita. What is the realization we get? That we know nothing. Know nothing means what we know as reality are only illusions, are only reflections created by our sense organs. And one who knows that reality itself get awakened to the reality of life. And when you get awakened, you can go beyond, that is called inside meditation, Vipassana Bhavana in Pali. You can go deep into the mind and read the real state of the mind, the original state of the mind. Our conscious state of the mind, the superficial state of mind, is limited by time and space. That means our knowledge in the conscious mind is limited. But the knowing capacity of our original mind is unlimited. That original mind can be called the enlightened mind or the nirvana. Nirvana is nowhere else but within us, within our own mind. The difference between our conscious mind and the nirvana is our conscious mind is thinking, but the nirvana mind is not thinking. But it's a knowing mind. If you know, you need not think. But we can know things only by thinking, that is retrieving the dead memories from our brains. That we can recognize, this is my father, this is my mother. We know by the retrieval of the dead memories of the past. Buddhas do not think. That is why in the first paean of joy, Buddha said, Visamkara gatan chitta. At the enlightenment, my thinking process came to an end, ceased, no thinking. No thinking means an empty mind, that means that mind is free from thoughts and feelings, free from thinking and feeling. And there is an empty mind. Emptying the mind from thinking and feeling is the enlightenment. It is the awakening. Then you can see the real mind, that is sunyata, the emptiness within you. That emptiness is not born, not decaying, not dying. It's called ajaramara, not decaying and not dying. It is called ajata, not born. It is not an event, abhutam. It is not something done, akatam. It is not something composed out of things that are available. It is the original, unborn, original mind that is eternal. There is the eternity that we can see within our own mind. And all things eternity means it has no limits in time and space. But all our thought forms are born to decay and die. That is what is realized by the first stage of enlightenment, or the Buddha's first disciple called Anya Kondanya. He realized at the end of the first sermon of Buddha called Dhammacakkappavattana, he realized that Yankinja Samudaya Dhammang Sabbanta Nirodha Dhammanti. Whatever that has a beginning has an end. Whatever that appears, disappears. Whatever that is born is subject to decay and death. Once there is that realization, we see the reality, and we cannot say the reality, we can have it as an idea. But having an idea is not the realization. Once you realize this intrinsic nature of the nature, you are free from attachment, resentment, and ignorance or illusion. That means you are vita ragi, vita dosi, vita mohi. Those are the words used to describe the enlightened mind, awakened mind. Awakened mind is awakened to the reality of life and the world in which we live. We all have the capacity, although we are sleeping at the moment, not realizing the realities, we all have the capacity for the realization of the truth, so that we can be enlightened, we can be awakened and become detached from attachment, resentment and illusions. And such a one can be called an awakened one.